more. Please subscribe today. Media House TV, we bring you the best.
How are you? Fine, sir. Good to see you. You are a witness to how this project started. I will never forget what you told me in 2014, how you encouraged us. And by the time we were looking for the CFO, with immediate alacrity, you did not waste time. So you are part of this project. You are our father in the state, and you have never failed to waver because, yes, you said last year after the visit of the federal officials that we should see you in mid-June. And like your child, I kept pestering you. But not for one day were you angry or, you listen to me. Sometimes you reply my text. I thank you for that. And you have really demonstrated that you are the father of our land. You have supported us. Today, we want to show you what we have been doing. The last time I was in SSG office, I was also appealing to him that please, he should find time and visit us. But today is on the entourage, so we are grateful, sir. We are grateful to you, Dari. Thank you for coming. I'm sure you must have been hearing of this place, but today you are here. And of course, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Infrastructure. I remember very well, we've met several times before. So I thank you very much. And of course, I acknowledge you in 2017 graciously set up a state committee in July 2017 on the implementation of this dry port and the truck transit park. But we don't want to place blame anywhere. But the way federal government works, just like you asked me the other day in your office, and I explained to you that the process, as far as federal government is concerned, is so slow that it's an embarrassment. But what can we do? We are the ones asking for permits and license from them. And luckily, we spent a lot of money putting all the business plan, financial modeling, everything. And this project scored 4/5 at the ARGP, including the truck transit park at Aviele and at Bypass. But unfortunately, the way federal government officials do their things, we can't force their hand. So I'm not making excuses, but the one we can do, the one that is within our power, we are going to follow it. And you know, sir, Your Excellency, by the ICRC Act of 2005, as a PPP project, Edo State government automatically is allocated 20% equity in that, in the federal government ICRC Act of 2005. So there's nothing we can do about it. Edo State is a shareholder in this business, and that's why you found it magnanimous enough to set up the committee that where myself and Mr. Idionwe as secretary will be working, assiduously for the past 3-4 years. So we thank you very much, sir. Today, we would like to make just a brief presentation considering your time, and then also to take you around. This is a pure transport infrastructure. This is a pure transport infrastructure. It will intersect so many value chains, especially with Edo State on the ECOWAS trade route. Edo State is on the international route, coming from Abidjan to Benin, to Lagos, Ore, Benin, Auchi, until it intersects the Trans-Saharan route at Lokoja and continues all the way to the desert. So the importance of Edo State as a logistics hub, this further reinforces it. One other thing again that we will see infrastructure coming up is the promise by the Federal Ministry of Transport that this dry port has been aligned to the rail master plan on the coastal rail. So they are aligning this dry port to that project. And of course, if you look at the master plan, you will see that there's also what you call a rail extension from Agbo. And I know that you mentioned it the last time you were in Agbo, during the commissioning of that. There's nobody that was more elated than me that day, because you said it and everybody heard you. It's in the news, it's on the internet. So we're very grateful for mentioning it. But it's in the rail master plan. And that, again, if you look at, Excellency, I don't know if you indulge just a minute. Let me show you for the rail. So when the rail comes, that is where it's expected to offload containers coming from abroad and also load containers that are going out. So if the coastal rail line or whichever one comes, we expect it to come from that angle. And when they visited us here in mid-December, they accepted that plan. It's already been built in the rail master plan. And of course, these two black spots here at the west will be a custom port. It will be taken over by customs because you can open your form NXP here. Customs have been here. We have had discussion. They've called the ministry. They were here last year. Upper year, because last year, which we call custom building. Then the custom health and inspection, they will all be on your right-hand side. We have not seen the slide I will explain to you. We are designed to take 20,000 containers at any time. So today you can put 20,000 containers here. Don't mind the grasses, we need them for erosion purpose. When we are ready, we are going to, because we have a road, perimeter road around these premises. So you can drive around. And all these intersections you are seeing, they are all roads that have been pegged. So all we need to do is just bring Caterpillar, open them, do the stone base, and then leave some green areas and all that. So don't worry about the grasses you are seeing. It actually absolutely means nothing. Just 2 days Caterpillar is cleared. So now, again, in the design, they told us we must put an area for repair of container. So you see, that is job creation. Everything about the inland dry port is about job creation. In the feasibility and viability study we did, I think not long after we met the governor as head of economic team that time, it took us 2 years to put that together, but it showed clearly that this is a fantastic project. It's very viable. It's going to create over 30,000 jobs, just assuming that you have only 5,000 freight forwarders. In Nigeria, there are about 15,000 freight forwarders registered. There may be others. Just assume you have each of them employing at least 4 people to come and do clearing, custom agents, freight forwarders, and all that. So automatically, this community will be choked, because already land is over 2 million from what I hear now for a plot. So, and you have the interchange area and all that. So this is what it will look like at the end of the day. At the back of the warehouses, when we will see right now, you will see that we can store containers. So everything has been scientifically calculated. There's a scientific calculation looking at the size of the land, looking at where you are mapping out as built and unbuilt, to calculate how many containers will come in here. And by the calculations, when we stack each container 4-4, we can put 20,000 here at any point in time. So that is just the brief explanation, sir. But why, since our last visit to you, sir, please permit me to sit down, sir. We've been crafted into the federal government project implementation committee for this. So include people, all Amato, trailer owners, so that committee is huge, to continue to position and strategize. So like I said, it's a 20,000 TEU container capacity with state government owning 20% stake. Each of those warehouses, as you see right now, is about 20,000 square feet. And we have this main and admin building, there's 20 offices here. So beyond customs, there are other regulatory agencies that their offices are all mapped out. We have already mapped all the offices here. And we will be doing aggregation here. So that's why there are some things we will be requiring from the state government, especially in terms of training farmers. We are an agrarian state, and this project will only encourage agriculture, especially when we are going to start exporting. As I speak to you, there are arrangements being made for a 40-ton cargo plane to land at Benin Airport very, very soon. That discussion has been going on. That will be taking agricultural products. So we are going to be aggregators here. We're going to be packaging and making sure that they meet the international standards. So, like you know, it's an inland dry port, and it will do so many things. Import, export. By July or August, once the federal government officially gazette this place as a port of origin and destination, then anybody anywhere in the world does not need to go to Lagos anymore. And I will put a side appeal that Edo and Delta state government can come together, put some pressure on the federal government to rehabilitate Cocoa Port. Already Rongsheng, the Chinese company, and Presco, they've been exporting through Cocoa Port. We have all the pictures. So it's an opportunity for us to avoid the costly mistake of going to Lagos and expecting containers from Lagos, you know, as a modern means of transport for now. But those are opportunities that are open, which I believe with government muzzle, you know, they can impress on MPA. You know, the last visit, MPA officials were also here from Abuja. We want to reduce our agricultural waste. A lot of research that has been done by professors in UNIBEN stated that, and I have all the papers, stated that Edo State is wasting at least 45% of our agricultural products every day. The market women may not be able to sell it. There's no cold room and all that can. So we want to be aggregators, collect all this, package it properly for European markets, and then we send them. Because right here, why we're asking for steady power also is because right here there will all the cold rooms and everything, which we have made arrangements for already. And the ones that we intersect each other, you know, support. So like I said, we're on a logistics hub, but you must create the transport infrastructure to be able to take advantage of that logistics hub. And this dry port, according to what the Federal Ministry of Transport and even Nigerian Shippers Council said, is one of the major infrastructure projects in Edo State that they are looking forward to, you know, to once it's commissioned by the president, will be, you know, we take advantage of that international nature of where we sit, our geographical location. So when we say benefit to Edo State, we just said, okay, assuming you only have 10% utilization of this dry port, which is 2,000 TEU, a month alone, that is 56 million kg per month of agricultural products that you can export. And from our spreadsheet and all the calculation with all our economists, what we've done, and on optimistic basis, we found out that the state alone can make almost 70 million from here every month. We can show you our figures. So we, like I said earlier, we estimate that in the next 3 years, we should be able to have at least 30,000 people waking up in the morning and going to work. And don't forget that it's new skill, because we don't have freight forwarders here. We don't have custom clearance people here. We don't have logistics and warehousing people here. So we have to start training. And our agreement with the Federal Ministry of Transport is that at a certain point in time this year, we will deliberately go out and start to train. Because we will not go to Okano or Lagos to go and bring freight forwarders to come here. They have to come from our own state. So if we must do that, we must start early. One of the 3.5-kilometer road and culverts and all that, because by virtue of what this dry port will become, it's now an economic road, and we would like the state to please consider, because NDDC came here in 2018. Okay. looking at state government equity, if there's, you can consider, because the funding we're trying to get from abroad now, they are asking us for guarantees and all that. So we are looking at the state government supporting us, but these are monies, of course, that will be returned. So, and then the last time the Federal Ministry of Transport officials with Shippers Council came, I think Yemen was here, and they requested very urgently that the Edo State government and Amex should put a joint venture agreement in place. And I think she went back and tried to put something together, which I don't know if she mentioned it to you, sir. But we still need to review that, make sure it's up to date. Then in due time, we will sign that agreement and submit it to both ICRC and the Ministry of Transport in Abuja. So we will also want Edo State government to please consider farmers and operatives, because if we can train from each of the 18 local governments and they can bring agricultural product and it becomes a way of life, it becomes part of their value chain, then it will be integrated over time. It's not difficult, So we are appealing. And my last prayer is that please also look at talking with your counterpart in Delta State on the use of cocoa pots. Every time I go there, I cry. No, for now, it will have made it easier to export and bring in. But for now, the only modern means of transport we have from year 0 to 5 is going through Lagos. So all our meeting with MPA, Shippers Council, in fact, Shippers Council were supposed to meet today, but it was cancelled. So they are looking at cocoa, but again, there has to be some political pressure, to help. And then the expansion of Benin Airport and the cargo sheds for direct export to Europe, I know that once we push that, because that will help a great extent to get, this agricultural product fresh arriving in Europe. So I think with that, I will thank you for listening, sir.
Visits the Ames Edo Inland Dry Port for the first time since this project have continued to carry on to bring a landmark project like this into fruition. It's not easy for those people who have tried to nurture businesses in Nigeria. It is a very, very difficult thing to do. You need patience, you need perseverance, you need stamina, and you need a whole lot of conviction. And that is what we see in this project. We are here today to see for ourselves. I've come in personally to see for myself, so I have a mental picture of what has been accomplished and what you are trying to achieve. So it is not going to be a very long visit. We will believe now. Let us see the plan and see what you have executed vis-a-vis the plan. We are very interested in the transit park component of it, like you said, because it complements our plans to make Edo a transit hub. And I believe that can start tomorrow. I mean, it's not a problem at all. We can commence that because we already have investors and people who have expressed interest. The issue of the dry dock itself should not be a problem, because it will be one of the considerations the transaction advisor who is working on the Benin River Port has started work, and they will come and see you and talk with you to see how this gets keyed into what we're doing there. It's part of the reasons why we are building that port. So we have a port that has a two-way flow. That is, the vessels that come in to deliver things have things to take out. So that they'll be speaking with you. We'll let them speak with you. The road, that has done. Today I'm going to sit down and that's why I'm here with the Commissioner, the Permanent Secretary Infrastructure. We are going to work with our other partners to finalize the designs and hopefully commence the surfacing of the road before the end of this dry season. On the equity side, we will need to sit with you. Governance is something we're very concerned about in private businesses. The role of government is to be supportive and create an enabling environment. If we need to help put in some trigger, as we did with the fertilizer, the modular refinery, we definitely would, we're very willing to support, to catalyze these projects. But our goal is not to own, let private people who understand business do business, and government will do its own thing, which is to create an enabling environment for citizens, both corporate and individuals, to do well and thrive. And in the process, they will pay taxes for us to continue to sustain the state. We will not take our eyes off that purpose, but in achieving that purpose, we also realize that we need to support you to be able to stand on your feet. So it's something we will look at very carefully, and I'm optimistic that we should be able to support and see the takeoff of this facility. Your requests about agriculture ties into our various initiatives. The independent farmers initiatives, where we're going around people who already have land. The agripreneur program, where we are helping people secure large tracts of land to undertake commercial farming. All of this ties into what we have been planning. So we are aligned, and be rest assured that once we get going, we will be able to send the word around. We already have the database. We're already talking to farmers across the state. We're going to be increasing our support for them, inputs, agronomic support to get them to produce more, and also guarantee them markets. So those are things we're currently working on. We just need to link you up with these initiatives. And this is for this reason, for reasons like this. That is why we started helping create markets for agri-produce from our state. I want to congratulate you for the work you've done so far. I want to continue to encourage you and to tell you that nothing good comes easy, and that by the grace of God, at the end of the day, this sport will be a big success, which we all will be very proud of. Once again, congratulations.
Their plan is that to come through Prescott and appear here. Then I was also discussing with them about the Benin Enterprise Park, and just behind Benin Enterprise Park is River Port, Benin River Port. So I think they took note of that. So that once you have a road here, there's no point if not going to the Enterprise Park.
talking to them. As soon as even if you have 200-300 containers every day, because the traffic containers coming into every state, you have 2.6 million containers per day. And those things, and these are moments, show me when we went